to week number 2 of starting and building your business in the midst of COVID-19. This workshop is sponsored by the Women's Business Center of Kentucky, a program funded by the Small Business Administration and hosted by Community Ventures. More information about us can be found on our website, www.wbckentucky.org, and please like and follow us on Facebook. The mission of the Women's Business Center of Kentucky is to empower, support, encourage, and equip women for success in business through workshops, counseling sessions, and networking opportunities, like our monthly 4th Friday Strong Coffee, Strong Women Roundtable. For the men out there, don't worry, we work with men entrepreneurs as well. Our purpose is to be a resource partner to women entrepreneurs throughout the state, and we are committed to providing services and programs that support and accelerate women business owners to strengthen their impact within the state. My name is Phyllis Alcorn. I'm the director of the Women's Business Center of Kentucky. Assisting me is Elaine Goldstein in the Louisville office. Elaine will be handling our questions. Okay, Elaine, could you mute that person, please? Or could everybody mute their lines, please? Assisting me today is Elaine Goldstein in the Louisville office. Elaine will be handling our questions and managing the Zoom waiting room. Also working with the Women's Business Center of Kentucky are Pam Russell, who's in our Campbellsville office, Mark Johnson, who works with our artists, and Sean Burns, who covers our Millersburg office. Jonah Brown and Monica Sanders are our marketing team. A few housekeeping items before we get started. Just like last week, we will address all questions at the end of the presentation. If you have any questions, please use the chat box, which is accessed by waving your mouse over the chat emblem located at the bottom of your screen. Just click on that and the chat box will appear. Type in your question or indicate it and send it to A. Goldstein. That will go to Elaine. She and I will address your questions at the end of this session. Last week, I sent out a homework booklet for you to use to work on your business plans. Hopefully you got a chance to start working on that, on the questions in there. They're designed to get you thinking about your business plan and how to get it started. It gets you on your way to actually writing your business plan. If you happen to get through all the questions and like feedback from Elaine or myself, please use the chat box or send us an email and we can schedule a one-on-one time to discuss your plans and answer any questions you might have. Okay, I'm gonna take a quick break here, just a second. Okay, steps to start and grow a business. Paying particular attention to helping you write a business plan that documents your process and the steps you will take to start and then manage your business so that you can make money, despite an unusual occurrence like this pandemic we're in the middle of. As a brief summary, a lot of focus and attention over the past few months has centered around how this quarantine has really changed our lifestyles and how businesses do business. As a result of this change, many are struggling to remain open as they have been unable to adjust to the forced changes in their processes to accommodate the mandated slow or shutdowns. For instance, look at the restaurant industry. You plan for 100% capacity and frequent turns based on that 100% capacity. Then the government mandates 33% capacity and or setting patrons up to eat outside, socially distanced. Then he mandated 25% capacity and you were struggling considerably at the 33% level. So as you can see from our very simple example here, there's quite a significant drop in revenues at the reduced levels because we went from $1,000 a day and then at 33% it's $333 a day. And then at 25% it's $250 a day. So imagine your bills are based on your estimates of $1,000 and now you're down to $250. So that's quite a big drop. Having a detailed business plan would help you better manage and be more prepared for situations like this one. I'm not saying it will make these circumstances perfect. It will just give you a better starting point for your plan for adjustments, especially if you included a plan B, a plan C, or even a plan D in your initial business plan. This is why we talk about the importance of creating a business plan. A business plan is where you describe your products or services, It's where you talk about your experience, knowledge, and qualifications. It's where you identify things like your goals for your business, why your business exists, who your target market is, why people will buy from you, who your competitors are, what your industry looks like, and exactly how you plan to make money. It's where you talk about how you might handle unusual circumstances should they come up, and how you can best continue to serve your target market and reach out to them. The place you would include those outreach details is in the marketing plan section of your business plan. The marketing plan section is where you will explain how you plan to get your customers to buy from you. It will include details about your products and or your services, your marketing strategy, your pricing strategy, how you plan to promote and advertise your business, and even where you plan to locate. It's divided into sections as follows: the marketing strategy, which you see ahead of you, the objectives, products and services, pricing, promotion, place, location and distribution, and then your ongoing evaluation of the market, which will include your market research results. So marketing is about communicating the value of a product, service, or brand to your customers or to your consumers for the purpose of promoting or selling that product, service, or brand. In for-profit enterprises, the main purpose of marketing is to increase product sales and therefore the profits of your company. In the case of nonprofit business marketing, the aim is to increase the organization's services, the response to the organization's services by the consumers or the clients. Governments often employ social marketing to communicate those messages with a social purpose, such as public health or safety messages to citizens. In for-profit enterprises, marketing often acts as a support for sales teams by putting the message forward and information about what they're doing, the product and service to the desired target audience. So as you see, you have to have a different aim when you're a for-profit business versus a nonprofit business, different focus. Marketing techniques include choosing target markets through market analysis and market segmentation, as well as understanding your consumer behavior and advertising a product's value to the customer. So all that goes into your marketing plan. You have to really have a good idea of what your target market is about, what really resonates with them, and then you have to figure out what's my approach to get to them and get their attention. So marketing encompasses all the steps necessary to bring a product or service to market. It involves picking the right product for the right audience at the right price, finding the best place to sell it, and then understanding how to promote it. Sub-functions of marketing include market research, advertising, and public relations. So marketing itself is the process of teaching your consumers why they should choose you, why they should choose your product or your service over your competitors. If you're not doing that, then you're not really marketing. It's really that simple. So the key is finding the right method and defining the right message to use to educate and influence your consumers. It's all about that influence factor. Companies make the mistake of thinking that marketing is just one thing. As you see, by all the things I'm talking about right here, it's quite a lot. Marketing is everything that the consumer encounters when it comes to your business, from advertising to what they hear, to the customer service they get, from how your building looks, from any of the bags that you may put your products in, from the wrap you may have on the outside of your car, all of that, to the follow-up care that you provide. All that's marketing. Marketing is what helps create the decision within the consumer whether or not they should choose you initially or for repeat business. The activities of marketing are often confused with advertising and sales, but it's important to realize there is a difference. Advertising itself is the persuasive message, the non-personal presentation or promotion of your product or service to your potential and existing customers. It's merely a component of marketing. So it's not marketing, it's a component of marketing. Marketing is the systematic planning, implementation, and control of a mixture of business activities intended to bring buyers and sellers together for a mutually advantageous exchange or transfer of products and services. In other words, you want to get them together to buy your product or service. Okay, so that's the systemic planning and then implementing to get that to make that happen. And since you can't make money if no one knows about you, you need to develop a strategy to reach your target market, to let them know you're open for business. So back to the restaurant scenario earlier. So what strategy might I use to alert my clients that I'm still in business despite this pandemic? Not only am I still in business, I'm actually offering curbside service. Or perhaps I'm also offering delivery services in addition to my limited capacity. Perhaps I've gone to dining in with reservations. So again, think creatively, how can I manage this? How can I manage the situation where the governor has now mandated a lower capacity within the restaurant itself? Well, I can then think of other options. What else can I do? So a good and effective marketing plan helps you do this. I would need to publicize my change in service. I would need to highlight the delivery service, highlight my curbside pickup service, and then my dine-in reservation service. I would need to publicize, once I have them, the phone numbers that the public would call for each of these options. I should then check to be sure my process is not a difficult one to navigate, as this would possibly frustrate my market and would discourage future buying from me. So your marketing plan should be designed to keep your company's name uppermost in the minds of your consumers. It should show that you know your customers and that you know your competition. It should provide details about how you plan to compete in your industry. And with that, you would have a marketing strategy. So a marketing strategy would then help you to attract and then keep your customer. It should emphasize the value that your product or service brings. It should identify different customer groups. That way you can better tailor your products or services to them. It should definitely focus on your target market. So basically, your marketing strategy is your game plan. It's your game plan for achieving your marketing objectives. And once you've outlined your strategy for attracting and keeping your target market, you will need to define your marketing goals and objectives, which, when stated and presented, will heighten the awareness of your image in the mind of your consumer. It should improve your product's awareness and establish you in the industry. It should spell out exactly what you want your marketing efforts to do for you and for your business. As far as your marketing goals go, you want to make sure that those marketing goals are SMART goals. And by SMART, I simply mean specific, that's the S part, right? Measurable, that means that you can actually, monitor how well it's doing. Attainable, is it something that is realistic to get to? Relevant, does it make sense for today? And timely, okay? So you need to express these goals in terms of your sales dollars, your market share, the effectiveness of your advertising outreach. When considering your marketing strategy, you want to be sure to carry a consistent message about your company. Now, some of the most beneficial marketing efforts that you'll have will come from people that you meet. Okay, so you'll be meeting people in different places in various situations, and because you are the face of your business, each time you meet someone new, you're presented with an opportunity to sell yourself. Does that come in? Sorry, going backwards. About that, never mind. Okay, so some of the most beneficial. I'm learning this thing as I go. There you go. Y'all see this window in front of you in your screen too? Please move this window away from the elevator. How does that happen? I don't know how to do that.
I think it's going
Okay, there you go. Get that.
It's back, I think.
Like live and learn, right? Okay. Step this back.
You can drag it over or something?
When I do that, it's when the screen changes over. That's weird. Okay. Alrighty. It kind of comes and goes. So some of the most beneficial marketing, like I said, comes from things like when you meet people and you are at different events, and you'll be able to then talk about your business. And that's called an elevator pitch. And this example shows you a 15-second elevator pitch and what the benefits are. So it's just simply, another word for this is called a call to action or message mapping strategy. Something like this is designed to help you deliver a clear, defining statement about your business by offering one main point that summarizes what you do. Message mapping can help you pitch your business in as little as 15 seconds. And here's how. It's broken down into 3 steps. The first step being create a Twitter-friendly headline, where you tell your audience what you want them to know about your products or services, okay? So again, you want to tell your audience exactly what you want them to know about your business. Everything is faster nowadays, right? So people's attention spans are basically non-existent, so they don't listen very long. Twitter-friendly headlines help you to create something where you say it and then you keep it moving, okay? And that's what they're meaning by this. We create a Twitter-friendly headline, something that's not like really, but the one thing you really want people to know about your business, your service, or products. Step 2 is to support that headline with 3 key benefits, okay? So that's when you simply say, okay, it does this, this, and this. Those are the main things there, okay? And step 3 is reinforce those 3 benefits with stories, statistics, and or examples. And again, that's when you could take advantage of any reviews, any good reviews you've gotten on Yelp or something like that. That's when you can take advantage of that, or any kind of thing that you know that's beneficial about your business, your product or service. And that's when you let your customer know that. Okay, so an example, I'm going to use an example from my Airbnb that I used last week. I started Airbnb, right? Okay, so step 1 wants me to create a Twitter-friendly headline for this Airbnb. Well, I tell my audience what I want them to know about my products and services. Well, the main thing I want my target market to know about my Airbnb is that staying at my Airbnb helps them feel like they're at home, right? That was the main thing that I talked about last week with our business model concept. And that's the value statement, was, you know, helping them feel like they're at home. So I kind of blended in a couple of things here. So again, my main thing is that I want them to know that staying in my Airbnb it makes them feel like that feels like they're at home. Step 2 wants me to support that headline with 3 key benefits. So I would reflect back those resources I identified last week: the fluffy slippers, the fuzzy robe. I think I had wine and beer, that kind of thing, snacks. Any of those things that I talked about, you know, before that I would provide for my customers. So I could say something like, imagine changing into a pair of fluffy house shoes and a fuzzy robe after a long day of sightseeing and going on tours. You could turn on your favorite movie or listen to some soft jazz, relax with your favorite, a glass of your favorite adult beverage. So that would be the benefits, the stories, the examples that I could give them to help them to think about, you know, what they could get at my Airbnb. Hopefully that makes sense to everybody. Okay, so basically this is where I could rely. Okay, so my step 3 when I did my benefits would be reinforcing those benefits with examples and stories. Okay, so this is where I could rely on any Yelp or Better Business Bureau reviews that I may have gotten if I've been in business for a while. So for this example, or actually talking through this example, I'm going to say I've been in business, I've been open for a whole year, and I've received some good reviews. I can share that here by saying, this is a review I received on Yelp from Harry and Martha. Their grandparents, who are from Frankfurt, they stayed in my Airbnb when they came to town for March Madness. They were here following their granddaughter, who plays for Franklin County High School. They were delighted with the accommodations and have already booked a return visit for later in the fall. They've also referred us to several of their friends who have already made reservations. Okay, so that's how message mapping works and how you could tailor your elevator pitch. So again, you're going to start with your Twitter-friendly headline, support that with 3 key benefits, and then reinforce that with some stories. And from that, you would incorporate what you would say about your business. Now on to your products and services. Things to consider as you develop your business and your brand would be, instead of offering several things, narrow your focus and offer one thing that provides superior quality. Develop highly specialized products that offer high quality, which I just said. What features and benefits are there to your products and services? You want to definitely highlight those kind of things. Why would people buy from you versus your competitor? You want to emphasize that as well. What sets you apart? That's the main thing there. And how will you determine your pricing? Go back one more. I think I skipped that one. Because this little screen is getting on my nerves. Okay, so how will you determine your prices? Okay, so you want to be sure to factor in your cost per unit or hours of service when setting your price. You want to make sure that you're competitive in your pricing. You want to make sure that what you're charging is within the going rate of what most people in your industry actually are charging. Because like I said before, people do comparison pricing, comparison shopping, and they simply will make a choice based on that. If that's what your target market looks for. Avoid underpricing. As tempting as that might be, just you think, okay, if I charge a little bit less, then I'll get more people. So that doesn't always work, because what happens is you charge less, but you're not covering your costs. You must be able to cover your costs in order to make money, and actually in order to stay in business. I don't know how that goes. All righty. So you figured out your product or your service, you've discussed it, you described it in detail, and you've set your prices. And now comes now you will figure out how to promote your business. So you want to consider what will appeal most to your target market when deciding how you will promote your products or service. What do they pay attention to? Okay, some possible promotional ideas might be games, contests, giveaways, perhaps coupons. Maybe they're inspired by coupons or rebates. So you want to think about what kind of thing really resonates with my customer. What will they want to see? How can I better promote my product or my service? What will get their attention? Maybe you want to sponsor a little league team. Maybe you want to sponsor the girls softball team. Again, if your target market, if that influences them, then you definitely want to get your name out there to figure out how can I best promote what I'm doing. As you put together advertising for your product or service, you want to consider this short checklist here, and you want to make sure that that the message you communicate is simple. It's a simple message. You want to make sure that you're being credible too, and you want to make sure to ask for the sale. Sometimes people forget to just simply ask for the sale. And you want to definitely be truthful in your advertising. Don't promise something that you or your product cannot deliver. Now, listed here are some types of advertising, and some low-cost methods might be something as simple as sending a birthday card or a holiday card to your clients. It may be something as simple as referrals, business cards, a business card exchange at a networking event. You're at an event and you have business cards, and you meet somebody, you introduce yourself, you talk about your business, you hand them a card, those kind of things. Again, those are the simple ways just to kind of get your name out there. And remember, some people are visual. For them, you may need to demonstrate how your product works, highlighting all the ways it will enhance their lives. You can do this through product demonstrations. Think about those commercials you've seen on TV where the Rug shampoo, the products miraculously clean up every bit of the stain. Even if it's a red wine stain, there's a dog stain, doesn't matter. It just cleans it up just like that, right? Or the dish detergent that gets all the dried up food particles from the casserole dish without scrubbing. I'm thinking, really? But anyway, so those are product demonstrations. And those are things that really resonate with certain target markets. Again, always keep in mind who your target market is when thinking of the best ways to present and promote your products and services. Does it tell me how to get to that? Okay, so I could go back. If this is distracting, well, if it is, I can go back to the. Elaine, has anybody chatted in the box in the chat box about this little box that keeps coming up? No. Okay. All righty. So I don't know why it's popping up. I'll figure it out next time. Okay. So the oldest and perhaps the simplest and most natural form of marketing is word of mouth marketing, in which consumers convey their experiences of a product, service, or brand in their day-to-day communications with others. These communications can be either positive or they can be negative. So here are some interesting statistics about word of mouth. 92% of consumers believe what their friends and family say about a business more than they do about what an advertisement says. And then 88% trust online reviews about a business. How about that? They consider these reviews almost as trustworthy as a friend or family member telling them. 74% consider word of mouth a key influencer in the purchase decisions they make. But only 33% actually seek out and collect reviews. So basically, when there is an increase of as little as 10% word of mouth, this equates to an increase in sales of between 0.2% and 1.5%. Although this increase is small in sales is small, researchers found that there was still an increase, right? So bottom line is you still are, even though the word of mouth may be little, it's still increasing. There are some definite advantages of word of mouth marketing. With word of mouth marketing, you can grow sales without the expense of purchasing advertising. You can build a community rather than creating a group of customers who just come in and buy from you without the benefit of developing a relationship with you. Those you engage in on a personal level are more likely to refer others to you, as well as they will buy from you again also. More funding, more freedom. Investors are more likely to see you as worthy of being invested in when they can tell that you have a large base of repeat customers, or as they call it, customer acquisition cost to lifetime value. So there are three crucial factors of a quality word of mouth marketing strategy. Factor number one is brand loyalty. It can cost 5 times more to acquire a new customer than to keep the customer who's already doing business with you. 5 times more, okay? It's been estimated that as little as 5% increase in customer loyalty can boost a company's profitability by a whopping 75%. That's major, okay? But think of it this way. Positive word of mouth keeps customers coming back, and then they tell others about you, and then they keep coming back, and then they will refer others, and then those people will come back as well. So pretty soon you've built brand loyalty from a customer base that has customers growing and growing and growing, all from positive word of mouth marketing. Factor number 2 is brand trust. It's been proven, and I've already stated before, that folks believe their friends and family over what an advertisement says. I know that's true for me, that's for sure. Factor number 3 is creating a buzz. The best way to create a genuine and credible buzz is to have people who don't know you personally bragging about you and creating a hype in social media and in social networks about you. A good word of mouth marketing strategy focuses on increasing ways of this happening. Examples of this would be impressing somebody so much that they're inspired to write a story about you for a national publication, for example. Or maybe you get mentioned in someone's blog as the go-to person, go-to expert for something. Imagine the customer growth that would create. There is definitely some validity in the usefulness of word of mouth marketing to promote your products or services. However, please keep in mind, word of mouth is a double-edged sword. And some statistics I read, like older statistics, say that happy customers tell an average of 1.5 people about their good experience, while unhappy customers tell between 15 and 20 people about their displeasure. So please keep in mind that, before you're tempted to go berserk, right, and unleash your mind on somebody who's obviously wrong, always consider if that is the best way to handle that situation, or simply can it be handled in a calmer way and tone. You never know who's watching and who's looking at you, and in these days, who's recording you, right, to post it later on Facebook, or even worse, send it to the news. Imagine that, right? That would not be good for anybody's business. So here are some tips to remember. As tempting as it might be and as badly as you might need the money, Don't say yes just to get the job. Because if you do get the job and you know you can't do it, that will only make things worse. Now you'll be in way over your head. You'll run the risk of damaging your reputation and killing any chance of getting future jobs. And since you're only as good as your word, when you mess up, don't be afraid to admit that you messed up. Ask your customer what you can do to make that better. And also never badmouth your competition because it reflects poorly on you. People think that you have issues, that you have problems. Okay, so speaking of great customer service, one of my favorite stores is Nordstrom. Shopping there makes me feel great, which is probably part of their marketing strategy. Not only do they have a beautiful layout, they have nice, high quality clothing and shoes, but they have someone at the door when you enter playing the piano rather than hearing piped in canned music. And this is not just a piano either. It's a baby grand piano, okay? And they're known for offering some of the best customer service around. Their philosophy is offer the customer the best possible service, selection, quality, and value. And this has been their philosophy since it was first established as a shoe store back in 1901. So they've been in business for a very, very, very long time and are still doing well. That just goes to show you that good service never goes out of style. Some things you can do for your customers to let them know you truly care about them and truly value their business are offer support, even after the sale. Give them a follow-up call to ask them about their experience with your company. You might find out something about your product or service that you didn't know about. Treat all complaints genuinely. Simply listen to what they say happened. Give them a chance to talk without interruption or without an argument back. Offer a solution that they're willing to accept. And then you want to recognize that many customers truly want to give you a second chance. So have you given thought to how you receive payment for your product or services? This goes in line with who your target market is as well. If your market is a group of millennials, okay, for example, check or cash should not be your only payment options. If your target market is senior citizens, cash apps or debit cards should not be your only payment options. People, depending on their age or generational habits, use different methods for making payments. So be aware of what method your target market uses. So what method will you use to collect payment and to monitor sales? Will you use credit cards? Will you take cash only? If you're doing business to business, will you offer discounts to encourage early pay? What accounting software will you use? Will you use QuickBooks? What point of sale system will you use? These are things to think about and to consider before you go into business. Now let's talk about location. The one thing that says a lot about you without saying a thing, right? Being located in the right place can boost sales tremendously, and it's crucial to your brand and how your clients identify with you. Being in the wrong place can kill sales. So when determining where to locate, be sure to consider your target market and what will appeal to them. Consider using a real estate agent. They know properties and know statistics on locations. You want to be sure to pay attention to the crime in the area, and you want to pay attention to parking, lighting, traffic flow, all these things. Also, does the area have vacancies? Unless it's a brand new construction, find out what spaces are vacant. How long have they been vacant? What happened? Where did everybody go? This is when you walk around, you might talk to some of the merchants who are there and ask them, was anybody here before? How long has this been vacant? Just kind of, knowing the area. You want to drive around the area at different times of day and night. And you want to ask yourself, is this space big enough for what I plan to do? And does it look like what I need it to look like? Because if you need to remodel it, guess who the costs get to go to? They get to go to you. Okay, you as a business owner would have to pay those remodeling costs. So you need to be prepared to manage that kind of cost. You also want to ask yourself, will you lease or will you own? And how will maintenance be handled? So bottom line, your marketing plan of your business plan is critical. Spend a lot of time and put a lot of thought and effort to the methods you'll use to attract and then retain your customer base. Repeat customers equal increased revenues. Now on to your operational plan. Your operational plan is where you describe your processes. It's where you identify your hours of operation, what holidays you'll observe, what your facility will look like. I know we talked about facility in your marketing plan, but your facility and your location have a marketing component as well as they have an operational component, which is why you will mention them in both your marketing plan and in your operational plan. Last week, we looked at your SWOT analysis, SWOT, and that stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. I mentioned the importance of doing this, and since as a business owner, you will need to undergo this type of analysis about your ability to run your business and about your business idea in general. I mentioned it was a good idea to complete 2 SWOT analyses. Well, here it is again. Okay, so that's 3, right? This time you're doing it from an operational perspective. Under strengths and weaknesses, looking at your internal operations, this is where you want to analyze your location. You want to analyze your management expertise, your employees, your products or services, from an operational standpoint. Then you want to look at the opportunities and threats from an external operations perspective, considering strategic alliances, considering your competitors, considering price wars, even the pandemic that's going on now. All that would fall under the same category because it is a threat to your business. Listed here are listed here are keys to a successful SWOT analysis. The first one being, be realistic about the strengths and weaknesses of your organization. Be specific, be subjective. For those items you list as weaknesses, that's okay. Think of what you as a business owner can do to turn those weaknesses into strengths. We know that nobody can do, that there's not one person who can do every single thing. So anything that you feel like this is a weakness of mine, then think about who could I hire to take care of this, to make this a strength. So think about what type of skilled labor I will need to hire to counter those areas where I and my organization are weak. Please do not think you can do this alone. Hire somebody. I run into too many women business owners who feel like they can do everything themselves. They're worn out, they're tired, and they probably are not as productive as they could be because, again, they can't do everything. So on to your business operations. This is where you talk about when you will be open for business. If you happen to have a storefront and you list your opening time as 9 a.m., please open by 9 a.m. or even earlier. There's always that customer that will be at your door at 8:55 on the dot, right? They're usually in a hurry and they plan to run in and get what they need and then head back out. Believe me, they will not give you a good review if your doors are not open promptly at 9. For those who won't have a storefront, how will you notify public of your hours? I noticed that Facebook has hours listed, which is helpful. You can also post your hours on your website as well. Give thought to the supplies and forms and equipment you'll need. Think about the amount you will use. Think about how often you will need to reorder and how to get the best price. If this is something you will need consistently, you want to control what you pay for these items. Controlling these costs will help your revenues. The same logic goes for your vendors and your suppliers. People who frequently do business with you are more likely to work with you on the prices. So don't be afraid to negotiate for a better deal. Okay, so that's all I have for today about marketing. I will email the homework assignment and the slides to you just like I did last week. And luckily, they will not have this big old square in the middle of them or the top of them. You have to figure out what in the world that's about, okay? Always a challenge, always challenges, yep. In addition to the marketing plan homework, please think about your elevator pitch, which I talked about with the message mapping example. Think about what you could say in 15 seconds to market you and your business. Again, highlighting, the number one reason why someone should buy from you, okay? And next week, we'll talk about making your business legal. We'll talk about your business structure. We'll talk about your business name and then how to register your business. So what questions do we have? Elaine, do we have any questions in our chat box? I think she's thinking.
In the chat box.
You're looking in the chat box. I'm going to unshare my screen because I'm tired of this little square. There you go. No questions? Nothing came through?